Richard Bruce here, and this is yet another log of the gang stalking that I got for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube. Now I want to talk to the skeptic, whom I share the skeptical view with, that there is too many nutty people on YouTube to take most of this stuff seriously. But just let me tell you my story. Listen to the clarity with which I tell it, and the reasonability which I find nuts lack in discussing how I could be wrong or misperceiving or the whole thing being bullshit. Now, listen to this, okay? In February of 2013, I uploaded my first full 40-minute report on this weird, absolutely hard to believe, I couldn't believe it for 60 days, topic of reptilian shapeshifting. Now, I discovered it on YouTube, and almost all of the makers of this showing so-called reptilian shapeshifting, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know the difference between a codec error or a refresh rate error or some other video anomaly and something that is an actual paranormal phenomena showing supposedly non-humans and or reptilian non-humans. But what happened to me was I discovered this, and I realized as I looked at the footage, because I had never been exposed to this before, I had in many of the movies, some of the best shape-shifting I got, for instance, on the movie Blade Runner. I'd watched that so many times. It was a favorite growing up. I saw it in the movie theater right over here in the Topanga Canyon movie theater. It's gone now. There's a Crate and Barrel there, but there used to be a movie theater there, and I saw that in the theater with my mom in 1982. And I've been watching that movie so many times ever since then because it was my favorite movie, and I had no idea that this whole shape-shifting thing was even had any merit until I saw the reptilian shapeshifter subject on YouTube, and I started checking out movies, and I took that apart frame by frame, and you cannot believe what's in there. You see Harrison Ford with these a very distinct, if you zoom in on the far shot in the bathroom, you get these horns coming out of his head, and his whole face morphs into a demon. And in this other shot where he's hanging from that ledge, there's like this half a horn that grows out of his head, and half his head turns dark with this huge mouth, and he's got these claws with these trimmed claws where his hands are, so you see like this actual claw, and you see it's cut like we cut our nails, or like you trim a dog's nails or something, and you can really see it, and some other totally weird stuff. And but what happened to me was I had nothing like this going on. I mean, I had some what I call pre-overt gang stalking type things, like the whistling and stuff. I even pointed out to my buddy in the Navy Waycaster. We were on the Lexington, and we were walking in the hangar bay, and I said to him, "Hey Chuck, I noticed that all my life for some reason people just start whistling when I'm walking nearby." And he goes, "Oh, come on, man, you're paranoid or whatever." And then this one time I showed him, and he goes, "Whoa!" and he knew it was true, because especially we were hanging out for a while, and I showed it to him several times. But in any case, I didn't get anything like helicopters or police following me around, or anybody following me around street theater or anything like that. Any sort of overt gang. One time I had noticed a helicopter following me, and it was kind of weird, but it was many years before any of this started. So when I found this subject on YouTube, I uploaded a report that I did because I did a follow-up on this one guy's channel, this guy Frequency Fence, Christian Kunimi, whom since then they've messed with his mind, I think, and a lot of people agree, and he totally lost it. He made excellent movies before this time, then he was gone for like 3.5 years, and when he came back, his movies were like a total discredit to what all he had done before, and unbelievable. And not only that, one of his best shape-shifting movies, this porno, which he had to black out several parts of, showed this reptilian tongue coming out, and it's really, and this whole body growing, and the guy like trying to cover it up, and because he knew that his girl was shape-shifting. It was really weird stuff. But in any case, he made excellent movies, and then he went to hell in a handbasket, basically. He totally lost it. But in any case, that's where I learned about this, and his earlier movies, as most people who've looked into this know were great, even though they didn't have any sound to them. They were just text, but he did a very good job writing out the text and pointing out the shape-shifting. That's where I learned it. And when he did a report on the movie The Matrix, I did a follow-up report. And when I took this movie apart, I couldn't believe it, because also The Matrix with Keanu Reeves was a cult classic as I was growing up. I mean, classic, loved that movie, watched it many times, never saw any of this. When I took that apart frame by frame, at first, I took them apart just going through it slowly, and later I found the frame by frame, in which I learned a lot. But in any case, when I made my first full report in February of 2013, I uploaded that, and immediately I had like 7 or 8 helicopters hovering above my place. I thought it was a drug bust in my building, and I was like, whoa, you know, okay, all these helicopters and everything. And then throughout the day, helicopters kept zooming over the house, you know, like doing a buzz. You know, here's the house, and the helicopter goes like that. I mean, you could really hear it, and the building I was in was cheap, so you could just like it's all shaking and everything, and I was totally freaking out. And it didn't take me long to figure out this was from what I uploaded to YouTube, although I couldn't quite believe it. And then I had police, and by the way, these were police helicopters, guys. Los Angeles Police Department, silver and blue helicopters, okay, and the black and white ones. Horizon, guys. Got some kind of major fire going on here. This is Richard Bruce reporting from Los Angeles. The entire city appears to be on fire. Well, here's all that's left of the Canoga Park Rocketdyne facility. Got this weird summer storm. It's like super hot here, and yet got like this storm. See these raindrops coming down. As a matter of fact, I better get indoors. I'm gonna get soaked out here. 10:30 p.m. August 3rd. It's like a black and white. Buzz in progress, buzz in progress. Heard it coming. Direct overhead. Silver and blue, LAPD. This is a buzz. This is a buzz for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube. We don't live in a free country, friends. It's the United States of America. We're not free over here. You can't upload something to YouTube without being a target of psychological warfare by the non-human run United States government.
Hail Satan!
In the police station, when he was being held down and the sergeant came over, he said the sergeant shapeshifted in front of him, turned into a reptile, and then came back to human, and then shapeshifted again and returned.
Helicopter approaching. Looks like it's coming in for a buzz. Yep, we got black and white LAPD slowing down. Got Richard Bruce here. Ready for your close-up, guys? See how slow he's coming? Nah, there's no helicopters following me around, man. It's total paranoia. They're not looking at me. That guy didn't notice me, didn't know I was here. Total paranoia. Yeah, right. Try being in my shoes. You'll see. It's a program. Helicopter approaching again within minutes. That was less than 60 seconds from the last one that came over. So we got, this is fire and rescue. Don't think they aren't using these fire and rescue government paid, taxpayer paid vehicles to gang stalk harass. Be sure to fly right overhead. Buzz in progress, buzz in progress. Black and white LAPD slows down for a look. Guard passes in front of me as I am exiting, passes right in front of me. Security paces me as I leave the area. You'll notice, see, he's here to cut me off.
The national toll per year is in the thousands every year. Kids die violently because of this.
The kind of individuals involved are down the line, almost in every instance, in the cases I've investigated, men who are very powerful, usually very wealthy, and usually administrate control over a large number of people.
A 16-year-old boy came to us telling how he'd started as a prostitute at age 12 and now is employed by a large Houston corporation. The corporation pays him from a well-covered slush fund.
I'm working right now, like, just, with the corporation. And
What's that? How's that work?
well, when their executives or, their business people are in town, they're sent to our apartment, and we entertain them while they're here.
Okay, what's that entertainment usually involve? What do they usually demand, or what do they want?
Well, it's all kinds of sex and perversions. There's no two alike. I've decided that.
Subsequent to the making of this interview, this boy's mutilated body was found.
It's closely attached to the major financial, commercial, industrial, educational institutions of our society. It's run by the same people who run those. It's frequented by the same people who occupy management positions in those. It's not the mafia.
And if Washington doesn't have enough to talk about these days, the Washington Times reported today that unidentified White House aides in the Carter, Reagan, and Bush administrations now are being investigated for using the services of a call boy ring. The paper reports that 2 of the male prostitutes were given a late-night tour of the White House last year.
And I remember, I'll swear on a stack of Bibles, I remember a lizard man in that office. It was His Highness Draco something, I can't remember the other name. Had sort of like scaly skin, humanoid. He walked erect like we do. He had 2 arms, 2 legs. He had a tail, a big mouth, and looked like what you would expect if you're going to put together a lizard man. There was a being on Star Trek called the Gorn that Captain Kirk fought on this planet. This man that I worked next to sort of resembled that being. He spoke in a hissy voice, hissed a lot, and sort of sounded like he was loud whispering most of the time.
Here he comes. Black and white LAPD. Helicopter flies by as I'm entering the mall. It's what's known as the entry flyby.
One last question in regard to this whole sort of scenario in, Draco, reptilians, etc. Mark Richards talks about the raptors as being a group of reptilians that went off planet after the dinosaurs. That when they said the dinosaurs went extinct, they didn't actually go extinct, but they're a certain group of them, from what I understand, went underground and stayed here, and then a certain group actually left the planet. And they're called the raptors. But you do know that reptilians and Draco, the blood sacrifices, the whole Luciferian thing, the kids being killed and eaten, that humans have been eaten and taken off planet, etc., and used for slaves and other colonies, etc.
I hate to say that, But that's far worse than what you've just said.
It's far worse.
Yes, far worse.
Another mysterious shapeshift where it looks like his middle finger turns into a short stubby thing with a claw, and you'll see that in just a second. It's like it sticks out, but it's like this little tiny stubby thing. And then here in this next frame, the next frame coming up, you'll see a little nail will stick out. See, look at that little nail sticking out of there. It's really weird. I mean, it wasn't there a few frames ago, and then all of a sudden it's sticking out, and that's probably the beginning of his real hand, or his reptilian form hand, you might say. So another thing that's weird is I confronted that security guard. I'm not sure whether I included that in video. I may have left it out to save space or something, or I didn't like the way it turned out. But I had confronted the security guard that had been following me around. And I know that cataloged that, so you'll see it if you watch my gang stalking movies. And but what's interesting is, since the time that I confronted him, and he, just to let you know, the outcome of that was he was cool. He was, he was like, "Oh no, I'm not following you around," oh, and I said, "Oh, okay," I didn't make a big, didn't yell or anything, I just said, "Hey bud, I got to talk to you," and I pulled him aside, and I said, "Hey, I noticed you're following me around," and he, of course, in a certain part of him, he knew what he was doing. Okay, so what happened was this security guard just vanished. I mean, like, after I had talked to him that one time, and I didn't see him again. So I'm just reporting that it's kind of strange that, like I said, there wasn't a big confrontation or anything. There was no yelling. I didn't threaten him or anything. I just said, "Excuse me, sir, can I talk to you?" And he says, yeah, what this is? And I said, well, I noticed you're following me around. He goes, "Oh, no. And he was like very kind of, loving and pulling me aside going, "Yeah, no, and it's, I knew he knew, I mean, I'm not sure if I reported that. Like I said, I might have left it out of the video. I'm sorry, my memory kind of sucks, but basically, he didn't make a big deal out of it, and I said, okay, but you might want to watch out for things that can control your mind, because I knew he wouldn't understand what I was talking about. Plus, he had a thick accent. I don't know what his nationality was, but he probably couldn't understand what I was saying anyway too well. But I just said that to kind of add it in, and I just kind of went like, gotta watch up here, and okay, no big deal, and okay, that was over. And then but like I said, and he'd been working there for a while, I think at least a year. And so after I talked to him, I haven't seen him there since. So I don't know whether he quit or what happened, so just reporting that.
What the fuck is going on in that cloud? There's no noise.
Helicopter approaching, black and white. Buzz in progress, buzz in progress. Black and white LAPD coming just as I finish getting lunch ready. Now it's this unlabeled. Direct overhead. It's the buzz, direct overhead. Hey, how you doing, bud? Remember when you asked me to leave the mall for no reason in the morning while other people were walking by? I just want to tell you that I didn't appreciate that. I felt that you just respected me to my face. Well, I submitted a written report to the office. No, back when you did it. Sure I can. We're on public property. Sure I can, bud. Sure I can. You're on the Richard Bruce channel live right now. No, you harassed me, bud. I just want to let you know that I didn't appreciate what you did.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
You kicked me out of the mall for no reason.
911 911 911 911.
What's that?
I'm calling 911 to give you the number for harassment. I'm calling 911 to give you the number for harassment.
I'm not harassing you, bud. This is a public street. I'm just talking with you. Video is for legal protection. And I'm happy to talk to police if you want me to talk to them.
Sorry, sir, I have to go.
Hey, how you doing, bud? Remember when you asked me to leave the mall for no reason in the morning while other people were walking by? I just want to tell you that I didn't appreciate that. I felt that you just respected my face. Well, I submitted a written report to the office. No, back when you did it. Sure I can. We're on public property. Sure I can, bud. Sure I can. You're on the Richard Bruce channel live right now. No, you harassed me, bud. I just want to let you know that I didn't appreciate what you did. You kicked me out of the mall for no reason. What's that? I'm not harassing you, bud. This is a public street. I'm just talking with you. Video is for legal protection. And I'm happy to talk to police if you want me to talk to them. Okay, so let me read for you this letter here that I submitted in a printout to the Westfield Topanga main office, brought it in, and also spoke with 3 management employees that were there. The date of the incident was 3/1/2017, so April 1st, and the location was the Topanga Plaza Mall near the 3-pronged water sculpture, which is basically west of the food court. And I said, incident description: 2 security guards heading south in mall passageway stopped me, and security officer Afshin informed me that the mall was closed and I needed to leave the area. I informed him I walked the same route at the same time to the restroom from Starbucks every morning, about every morning since October 2016. So that's 6 months that I had been doing that on a regular basis, and see security regularly at those times, and have never been told that the mall was closed and that I needed to leave the area. Officer Afshin proceeded to explain that persons who walk the perimeter of the mall have filled out permission forms and are issued IDs, of which I replied I would look into it because I had not heard that before. Okay, he further stated his superior was standing beside him, a Caucasian male, 5'1", and he was new working as security at the mall. I pointed out several people who passed by as we spoke, 2 female persons, not senior citizens, if they would be stopped for not having permission IDs, but I did not receive an answer from them as I was speaking to them. Finally, Officer Afshin seemed to relinquish, insisting I leave the mall area, stating that if other security guards know you are okay. And then I wrote further, how am I okay if I have not obtained a permission ID? Would that not mean that the 6 months prior to that time, security saw me and greeted me in the passageways of the mall in the same pre-mall hours were negligent in their duty to check for my permission ID? So my point here is that this security officer told me a lie, which is that I needed a permission ID, which I knew was not the case, or at least I was fairly sure was not the case, but just in case I was wrong, I said, okay, I'll look into it, because, you know, I didn't know, maybe they did, just somehow I slipped past security all that time, but I had known that people can come and walk the perimeter of the mall for exercise for an indoor area, especially senior citizens, in the pre-mall hours, and obviously they're not going to be, you know, their chances are that's okay. They're not going to have a security problem. I'm sure they have a security problem, and they do need to stop some people. But remember, what I claim, and I will state again, that I had no unusual dress or behavior. So the only thing I can think of is that it's just, he just singled me out because what? I'm not either a woman or a stooped over senior citizen, an upright, still walking tall white man, Christian man. And he can't have that, see? So he's got, and he did one of those things where he stops you as you're walking away, kind of like the, hey, you're the transgressor type thing. So when you have to turn around and come back to the guy who's telling you to stop, you look like the transgressor. So it's like a psychological thing, But anyway, that aside, I mean, I cooperated with him, and I said, okay, all right, and I'll look into it, but think about this, okay? I'm a 42-year patron of the Topanga Plaza, okay? So I've been going there since there was an ice skating rink, and there hasn't been one there for over 20 years. And a lot of people that are working in the mall don't even know that there was an ice skating rink in the mall. So, and I've never been reprimanded for anything whatsoever, and never behaved ill or dressed inappropriately or anything like that. So, this was offensive for this guy to try to kick me out of the mall. And like I said, I received no apology from the mall management or anything. And so when I saw this guy, it was the first time that I had seen him since that incident. And I happened to see him on the street, and he's pulling up next to me. And, as we're entering the mall. And so I happened to have the camera in my hand because I was filming, getting ready for the gang stalk as I was entering. And sure enough, here comes security pulling up right next to me. So I whipped the camera out and pointed at him and said, hey, bud, remember me? Well, I just want to let you know that I don't appreciate you trying to kick me out of the mall. And that's all I said. So, and then his response was, oh, you're harassing me, I'm going to call police. And then furthermore, he, on the way in, he cuts me off right as I'm entering the mall. So if I didn't slow down, it would have been an accident, because he cut right in front of me as we were entering the mall, fully pulling into my lane, and then veering off and driving in the entirely wrong lane to make that turn in order to cut me off. So you can see this level of this lack of professionalism in this security guard.
The United States has long been overrun. If you're not aware of this, you are clearly in a coma. And guess what? Your country is totally run by Jewish supremacist, Talmudic, pedophile, satanic, bankster cultists. Literally. That is who owns your country.
Gang stalking white plane, gang stalking white plane. Definitely gang stalking white plane. Pose in progress, pose in progress.
It's quite horrific, but if we don't know about it, what can we do to stop it and to change it? I spoke to Arizona Wilder in Los Angeles, and this is what she had to say.
The Illuminati are actually run by these 13 bloodlines, which are all of the royal families in Europe and in England, and they need the blood because they are, in fact, not human. They take human shape. They are reptilians, and they need the blood. The blood helps them maintain their reptilian shape, and it helps them maintain their sanity, and it helps them to live in this world because they are not from this world. But what they need is, for it to be secreted in the blood, is they need terrorization of their victims before they are killed for their blood.
Pose in progress, pose in progress. Slow flyover of a gray and blue LAPD helicopter. Helicopter flying overhead. Gang stalking plane, gang stalking plane. Timed perfectly, gang stalking plane, gang stalking plane. Slow flyby.
The reptilians arrived here and again began to take over, instilled themselves in different places underground in the earth, and also this one part of them, the ruling part, took over and became involved in the politics and in the religion, and started controlling through these means.
I'm not familiar enough with.
But you do know that reptilians and Draco, you know, the blood sacrifices, the whole Luciferian thing, the kids being killed and eaten. I mean, that humans have been eaten and taken off planet, etc., and used for slaves in other colonies, etc.
I hate to say that, but that's far worse than what you've just said.
It's far worse.
Yes, far worse.
This information has come with a price. There's many people I know, some who've literally been killed, and some who've been harassed unmercifully, not just from human intelligence agencies, but from the reptilians and the aliens themselves. Any half-rate UFO researcher can be monitored or harassed by deep black elements of the human military intelligence community. However, when a researcher or an abductee starts getting harassed directly by the reptilians, for example, you know that that person is crossed over into the threshold of the big leagues.
I guess looks count for a lot in love, huh?
Pause in progress, pause in progress. Helicopter approaching. Looks like a direct overhead. Yep. a direct flyover. Same unit. Direct flyover. We're uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube. So yeah, they definitely use emergency vehicles, as I've noted before, for sound, psychological warfare. Hey look everybody, it's the criminal lineup! Looks like a direct overhead. Yep. Fire helicopter. Okay, so notice that was the second time as I exited the Starbucks that there was an emergency vehicle. This Starbucks in Calabasas. You may get this noise campaign when you enter into a demonic stronghold that they don't want you to enter into. You'll notice emergency vehicles either as you're exiting or as you're entering the establishment in that area.
Corazon goes on to state, I have prevailed against the kingdom of the Father and befouled his beard. I have prevailed against the kingdom of the Son, and torn off his phallus. But against the kingdom of the Holy Ghost shall I strive and not prevail.
I went to a place that had a drop-off point, and these big black gates started opening up. And what I mean a drop-off point is, imagine if you're on the second floor of a building, and you look down, that's the drop-off point. All I could see is from what I could see with my eyes, and as far as I couldn't see no more. It was like an ocean of people screaming and crying. And all I could hear is, get me out of here, please. Please get me out of here.
If you're watching this, it's not too late. Say this prayer now. Father in heaven, save my soul by the work of your Son Jesus on the cross, and show me your pure words in the authorized King James Bible.